Hey, Art, it's good to see you. I was really excited to see that we would be able to talk in person because I'm so used to being up on the ladder and then looking down at the fence. And then there you are with your camera taking pictures and waving. And so now I get to really see who is this guy, Art, that's taking pictures and posting them on the street map. So, how did you get into street art?
Well, it started after I retired. I retired at the end of 2016, and my wife and I went on a trip to New York City with our niece to visit our niece Liza, who was doing an internship there. And two things happened on that trip. One, my niece got me started on Instagram, and two, my wife and I took a street art walking tour of Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
And I took a lot of pictures of all the fantastic street art in Brooklyn. And I decided, well, I've got all this great content. Maybe I'll use street art as Instagram content.
Okay.
So I posted my pictures on Instagram. Then when I got back to Atlanta, I decided, well, Atlanta has a lot of great street art, so maybe I'll find Atlanta's street art to use that as content, but that's the problem. Where do you find it? I looked online and there were some websites and none of them were up to date, and at best they had a handful of examples of murals. So I was at a loss for where to find it, and I realized, okay, well, there needs to be a resource because there clearly isn't one now. Well, maybe I could do that.
Right, right.
So that's how I got started. So Ashley, how did you get your start in art?
So I started art, I can't even tell you when. I was born in New Orleans and I was born in New Orleans East, and I saw art everywhere. And for me, just seeing like my parents would invite their friends over, and I remember specifically like when I was 2 or 3, they were doll makers, they were painters, they were musicians, and some of them were just artists within themselves. They were very vibrant people, colorful personalities, loud, gregarious, very funny, and it was just very arts. I was just around it a lot. And then I became an art teacher. I went to school to Hampton University, and I majored in art, and I became an art teacher, and that's how it started. I got out on the street. I wasn't really a street artist. I was a teacher. And when I got back from Virginia to Atlanta to teach, I taught high school, and I taught at Frederick Douglass, and it was my first high school, and I said, how am I going to teach these kids? You know, some of my kids were kind of rough, but they were like, I was like, I'm going to reach them. I'm going to figure out how I can reach these kids. So I asked my principal, Dr. Horton, I said, Dr. Horton, please let me go out here and paint on your walls, and I'm going to take the kids with me, and I'm going to draw it out. And we're going to do something different. I need to get them out of the room to kind of let them have more space and kind of so they can kind of feel like they're really truly a part of the art, not just like taking a class. So that's how it started. I took the kids out, and then eventually they let me take them out the doors, and then we go from wall to wall, and from there I loved it. Street art is something that for me truly is community art. I love it because I get to meet people. And I learn their names and I learn their personalities. Some of them stay forever. They keep painting, or some of them just stay and watch, or they'll come bring me Gatorade, or they come visit or talk to me. And after a while, you kind of made like a extended family. Sometimes I'll take my mom to a mural, and those people will be there. And she's like, how do you know those people? I was like, yeah, they were out here painting with me. So, and it's just been a really good experience for me because I'm not, I don't consider myself a people person, but I guess the art has allowed me to be kind of more out of my box.
I think the first time we met, you were painting the keys on your piano on the sidewalk on your Dill Street.
Yep, it was my favorite mural to this day.
How did that come about? I believe that was called Flight of the Fireflies?
Yeah, it was called Flight of the Fireflies.
How did that come about?
Atlanta Music Project, which is a fantastic art initiative and nonprofit here in Atlanta. They basically teach urban kids how to play different styles of music. They teach them the theory behind the music. They teach them how to perform, the etiquette behind performance. They teach them, you know, all the things you learn when you play an instrument, you know, how you sit, how your posture is, how you're, you know, I played cello, so you have so many different things.
Really?
They get the academic part.
Didn't know that.
I did. I played cello for 10, 15 years, and I really enjoyed it, and that's how I got the name Flight of the Fireflies. I was thinking to myself, Dill Avenue was known for prostitutes and drugs, you know, and because I knew it was that, so I said, what should this mural look like? We are about to bring in children from ages, I think they started maybe 7, all the way up to 18, and put them in this building in the middle of Dill Avenue, which was cleaning up at the time, but the connotation of Dill Avenue to most Atlantans would be, you know, red light district-ish. So I said, okay, these kids are going to be like a light. They're like a lighthouse in a dark space, you know, and I wanted to change the trajectory of how we see that area. And that's how I see kids anyway. I think adults are the dark ones, the kids are the light ones. So they come in, and I said, okay, they can't be a lighthouse because we don't have any water. So I start thinking, what are lights, what are powerful lights in the South that everybody knows that are small? So I said, oh, the kids are fireflies.
What a beautiful analogy.
Yeah, and then I was thinking, you know, when you have these gentrifying neighborhoods, you have like people from everywhere. You have wealthy young folks coming from wherever. Then you have a lot of African Americans who've been there. A lot of them are still struggling. Who, you know, you have this divide, and you have kind of like some friction that happens when you have these neighborhoods like this. But I said, there's got to be something that, whether you're black or white, poor, rich, educated or not, that all of us have enjoyed. And that for me was Fireflies. The last time I was really able to be a kid, I think I was maybe 11 or 12, and we had such a good time. It was so many kids out there in that field, and we were getting fireflies. And that's something that I thought would be good in the mural, because it would be my connector. It would be my thing that I could get everybody in this neighborhood to see. Look over here. And originally the fireflies were supposed to glow, but we couldn't get the city to put that light out and let me have yeah. So anyway, so the beginning of the mural is the main violinist. His name is Donovan. And at the time I was living in that area, Donovan actually lives like probably 10 houses down from where I was living. He is the first violin chair. So he is the person who, you know, they stand up and they're like the concert, I don't know, forgot what they call him, but he's the one that starts everybody off, and he's, you know, he's got to know his notes, and he kind of knows the whole score to some degree. So I put him up there because Donovan, when I first saw him, I said, man, I told the owner of Atlanta Music Project, Dante, I said, Dante, I need a kid that looks like everybody else. I don't need a kid that looks like an orchestra player. I don't need a kid that looks like a band player. I need somebody who looks like all the kids out here playing basketball, walking the street, sitting in the corner store. And Donovan has the look of a regular 2000 kid, you know. And he looks like he can play basketball. He just looks like a regular kid. So I put him up there with a big violin, and that was going to be the beginning of my piece. So the piece flows from the left to the right, and if you look at the S-hole in the violin, the fireflies begin to come out, and they go all the way through the picture. And then I have people dancing on his violin. I have the street name above it, because I wanted people to see that you need to know this is Dill Avenue, not what you thought Dill Avenue was. Then the next part, I have like 4 or 5 girls really big above the houses singing. And then the next part, I have like people sitting on their houses. I really wanted to incorporate the community for that one. That's why it's my favorite mural, because I went door to door and I interviewed people, and you know, I went in people's houses and I was like, how long have you lived here? What's your name? You know, getting their information. And then I actually got them to buy into the mural. I said, well, y'all want to be on the mural? So I have some people on that mural. You'll see them with cups in their hand, and they actually have fireflies coming out their cups and stuff. And it was just really good. And the kids came out and helped me paint, and it was great. We would work a lot at night. So with that mural, we had to project at night. So we would be there like 3 in the morning, and Mr. Perry lived like 3 doors down from the mural. He would come out and help paint, and he's like 65 and like 7 feet tall, and he would just be out there for hours with us, and they would wait for me at the stop sign. Like, they would be there before I got there. The kids, the teenagers, it was really good. We would turn the music on and just go for it. So that's how this community arts kind of started.
You always have people helping paint your murals.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's fantastic.
I think one thing about art that needs to kind of change is that it's kind of like a cool kids club. It's kind of very exclusive, and I don't like for things to be exclusive. So if somebody says that, hey, can I paint? I would love for them to paint. I just, we have to keep it within the design, but I love for, people to jump in and kind of put their spin on it. But that mural is just, for me, and the piano was like me thinking of Tom Hanks on Big, jumping through the piano pieces. And as we were painting it, the kids that walk every day to the corner store right there, because some of those people, they get their food from that corner store. There's no supermarkets over there. So they go across that piano, and you would see the kids coming by dancing on their way to and that makes me just feel great. But I just enjoyed that mural so much because it has all the generations on it. I have a granddad on there and his children standing on the porch waving and looking at the fireflies, and we have Dante and Aisha on there, and it was great. It was my first huge mural, so I was really proud of it, and I was really proud of everybody coming out helping me too.
Speaking of huge murals, another one of my favorite murals of yours, I think this is a very powerful mural. It's the one, I believe it's on the Goodwill building.
Oh, yeah.
Is that HERstory?
That's called HERstory.
Yeah.
It is a huge mural. I was teaching full time. I don't know how I got that done with a 3-year-old, but I wanted to show the unsung heroes of the civil rights movement. And a lot of people had never heard of those women. And once again, my philosophy in art is that people need to shine who don't get shine. We always hear, no shade to the people who get the shine, we always hear certain names out, and that's who we look to for. But I feel like as a community, if we want to solve some of the even big issues that we have to start looking at some of the small names that work every day. And I think that comes from me being in New Orleans. We were in a small community, and in my grandmother's hometown of Waycross. It's called Waycross, Georgia. It's small too, so it's like, even though you might not be famous, we know that he cooks good barbecue, or that person over there can tutor your kid in math, or whatever. We have to start finding and shining on the light on what is that specific purpose of that person to help the community, so we all kind of work together. So that's how that happened. And I had a ton of girls out there at HERstory. I had 50 girls to volunteer between the ages of 5 and 65, probably older than that. And they started bringing their daughters and granddaughters, and it was supposed to be a one-day thing, and they kept coming back. So I said, okay, look, you get a brush, you go here, you go here. And I mostly had them on the black and white monochromatic part, and they started learning the tones of the grays, and it just made me feel good because that's what I teach in school. So to be able to see them, articulate the colors on the wall, it felt good. And some of them even went on the lift with me. They weren't even scared. They just go right on up there and paint with me, and
I remember when
8, 9 hours too. I'm not talking about no couple of hours. Like, we were out there like construction workers, and they didn't ask for anything. They just enjoyed it. It was really good.
When I came out there to take a picture for the website, I remember you had a whole lineup of kids just painting away. It was fantastic.
It really makes me feel good. And one day I want to figure out how to organize that to on a bigger scale, because it just, you could see the kids and they knew who they were painting, they're like, that's Lottie Watkins. That was the first black real estate agent in Atlanta, or that's so-and-so. And the lady who wrote Pearl Clegg, everybody knows her as a playwright. She also wrote speeches for politicians,
You were teaching those kids
just
like you taught
so
your
it's
kids
just
in school.
Just like I teach the history and stuff in school, it's like teaching it there on the street, and it's something, because to me it sticks more, when you see the kids, they're like, oh, remember when we did such and such? When we going back to paint, Or I'll get Instagram messages. When can I come work? I'm like, I don't have no work right now, but you can come volunteer, but one day I'm gonna have you some work, So I love it. I love working with kids, teenagers, and, being able to show them that this is not a forgotten community. It's some live, living, viable people here. And I really enjoyed that one. Yep.
It turns out that the 1000th mural, as everybody knows now, was your Black Lives Matter mural at the KIPP Academy.
Yes.
Could you tell me what the Black Lives Matter movement means to you and how that mural came about?
So I was actually called by Muhammad Young Guy. He's been such a blessing to me. He was a teacher as well. And before I even started murals, I would follow him and I would ask him questions like, how do I do this? Or, show me how to do that. And he was very open to teaching me what I need to know. And he said, hey, they're looking for somebody to do this, and I'm not free to do it, and I think you'll be great for it. So they called me over to KIPP, and then I didn't do it by myself. I kind of facilitated doing like the lines and the letters and the designs, and we had volunteers there, and it was great. It was hot that day, I remember that, especially on the cement, laying on the ground, but it was great. It was awesome. And I love the way we did the colors and things, because it kind of, it really showed like the funky kind of like creative, whimsical look to the Black Lives Matter. So it was great. It was awesome. And I think it also showed, gave the kids something to see every day when they come through. And it didn't just say Black Lives Matter, it said that we are valued and loved, and it really kind of gave a little bit more to it. And that was that. It was great. It was a great time. That was a great summer.
Not now. Everybody knows that you do a lot of serious murals with some very, very important social content.
Mm-hmm.
Some of your murals are kind of fun too.
Yes, and I like having fun.
My favorites of your fun murals are your dog murals at the West End Veterinary Clinic.
Yes. So at the West End Veterinary Clinic, I had never painted a dog in my life. Matter of fact, I never even drew a dog in my life. And the doctor called, she said, hey, I want you to come through my building. And really, I was supposed to just do the front. And it was a red brick building, and like a mid-century, maybe built in the 60s, beautiful bones, but kind of like, not really good design right now. So I painted it all like a stone gray, and then I changed your signage up, and then I also like put giant dogs all around. I put cats, I put terriers, I put pit bulls, and the Dalmatian's my favorite, and then all the way around, then she said, come do my back. So I did the back. And then like 3 months later, she said, I want a memorial wall for the dogs that die. Oh, so the red fence in the back is her memorial wall.
I never knew that. I didn't realize.
And then the side, she started saying the side, and now she wants the inside done. So it's going on and on and on. And I enjoyed the dogs a lot.
And you also have some dogs on McDaniel Street.
I did. That was when I first started working part-time. And I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be a muralist. When you say a muralist, sometimes I still feel like I'm not really a muralist. I'm just kind of out here having fun, but I have to keep telling myself, you are a muralist, So the dogs on Daniel Street, I knew the owner of that building. She used to wash my dog. She was my dog's groomer. And she said, I'm moving to another building. I want it painted. And I was like, okay, I got it. I can do it. So I go over there with my spray paints, and it came out so fantastic. They were just so colorful. It reminded me of Trapper Keepers. They were like Trapper Keeper books in the 80s that we had, Lisa Frank. So those are the colors I use, are very bright colors. And it came out good. They were silly, and they had a lot of character, and I liked it. It was really good.
Now, one of your works that I don't think is different from all the others is the building you painted at Triton Yards.
Yes. So I did that one. I did like a little abstract on their wall, just kind of showing, just once again having fun. Like, I want that to be a place where you go get your snowballs and your food, and y'all go and play games. They got games out there, and so I want that to be whimsical and fun, and yeah.
And it is.
It is. That's right. That's right. So That was, I remember actually when I first started painting, I did a mural in Cleveland. And I was, at first I didn't know who you were. And I was like,
That was opposite the Kroger.
and I remember I DM'd Josh like, can you go look at the mural in Cleveland? Especially before it starts fading. But it was, that was a cool one because I was able to bring in all of these kids from Westlake High School to help me paint it. They helped me finish the painting. And there's a Masonic lodge down on Metropolitan. They let me use that space to paint it, the majority of it. But yeah, that was cool.
Purely by coincidence, you did the 1000th mural, and then your mural was selected to celebrate 1,000 murals in Atlanta by Cabbagetown Initiative on the entrance to the Krog Street Tunnel. And I understand that was a whole process going through that.
I actually had applied for that mural. There was like a application for it. And as an artist, you get a lot of rejections. Like you will not imagine, like you're doing these 3-4 hour applications to do these murals and you get a lot of rejections. So I was actually on a lift doing HERstory at night. It was about 11 o'clock at night. And George was there, George Baker was there helping, and a couple other women, and somebody said, congratulations. I said, congratulations? And it was like, you got the mural in Cabbagetown. I said, what? And I was young, I was like, yes. I was like so happy, excited, and I'm way up in the air on this lift. I need to hold on, but I was so excited, and that's how it happened.
Well, that's one of the best spots in the whole city for a mural.
Yeah, it was exciting, especially because I've not made on the BeltLine yet. But it was on the BeltLine. So I was like, oh my gosh, that is awesome. I was so excited, like super duper excited about it.
So how did you decide to pick your content for that mural?
So just like with every other mural, I like to go and find out about the community, because I feel like sometimes we think we're improving communities when we just go in and do something, instead of like finding out who is in this community, where has the community been, where is the footprint of this community going, you know, who are the people who are the people that everybody might know or they should know, or that kind of thing. And I asked around, I asked John Elkus, I think is his name. His name is Mr. Elkus? Jake. So I talked to Jake, okay? I'm bad with names, okay? So I talked to Jake. Huh? That's Jake? Oh my God. Okay, sorry. Don't put that in the video. Oh my God, that's so weird. Okay, so I was trying to find out. I asked around and I said, who knows everything about Cabbagetown? Like, I need somebody who can tell me everything they know. And so they said, oh, there's this guy that lives in a community named Jake, and he has a museum. Him and his wife have like gathered all the stuff about the neighborhood. I said, oh, that's perfect. So I talked to him on the phone, and we talked for a good time, and the story was so interesting. I loved it. I loved hearing about it. And he's telling me all about the factory, and he talked about how the people got here, how they got the name. He talked about even how when they had their first black women to come work there as seamstress. So it was just so interesting to hear like all of the history. It kind of gave me a better understanding of the culture, the music, the feel of the place. And so then I asked, like, are there like any, I think I asked something like, I don't know if I was talking to Jake or another neighbor, and I asked like, is there any like people, at the time, there's a lot of racial stuff going on, like extremely, a lot for me, because I'm 38, but I never thought I would see this much racial stuff. This is the kind of stuff my grandmother talked about. You know, I had never seen that. And that summer was really crazy. So I said, is there any like black and white friends and people that you know who can go anywhere and be accepted and be part of the family? Like, is there anybody who can walk anywhere and they walk and they're them, and they're, you know, and they are able to kind of move in between these different circles? And I got a couple names, and then I saw one that was Miss Bertha and Miss and her friend, and I kind of knew her friend a little bit from an art thing that I did, and she was a photographer, and I said, oh, okay, maybe that'll be a good one. So I then asked for Miss Bertha's number, and then I wanted to interview Miss Bertha and talk to her, and I met her in her garden on the patio, and when I got there, I said, oh, this reminded me of New Orleans. Like, just the vibe of the place reminded me of New Orleans. And when I was a young girl, I was in a school there. I was in a school in New Orleans that was in a house like that, like how the house is in Miss Bertha's house. And their patio was like that with the garden and stuff. So that feel was really just good. So then we get there and we're talking about, how she got to Cabbagetown. She telling me all these good memories, and she's showing me pictures. And I mean, I was just like, I think I called my mom. I was like, Mom, did you know her dad had to get inside of a bear to keep himself warm in the middle of the Antarctica? Was it Antarctica? Where was it? Antarctica. It was good. Wow. So I enjoyed it. Like, I felt like I knew Miss Bertha before I even knew her. I felt like, well, I meet people like that sometimes. I meet people that remind me of like my grandma. I was really close to my grandma or my aunt, kind of like that. And she's an artist. So I said, oh, that's perfect. She's an artist. She's also a graphic designer and makes signs for the community. So I just thought it was a perfect fit, Even sometimes now we'll drive by, just see the yellow house, and so my daughter can look out the window. There's Miss Bertha's house, and it's just good, As much as she fusses about, when we were there, she enjoyed it so much, so it was good.
Actually, that's a huge amount of research. And you did that before you got the job?
Yes, before I got the job, I did a lot of research, and that maybe I am a good student. I never thought of myself as a good student. I thought of myself getting my master's like by thread, but maybe I am. I like research, but I don't see it as research. I just see it as like me finding out about people around me, So I did do a lot of calling and asking, interviewing, and all of that before, and that's how I like to do it. Even with Dill Avenue, I ask people, well, what do you think about the neighborhood? What do you think, what's your favorite times, or what are the things that y'all want to change? What are some things that are, so I like to do that, and it kind of gives me a feel or a vibe for my project, and also gives me like an impetus to kind of pull all of my ideas together.
Your image on the Krog Street mural is almost magical, with Miss Bertha floating in
Thank you.
in the koi pond. How did that come about?
Thank you. So I was all on this news thing, and I should have turned that TV off. I was like, okay, how am I going to connect this thing? There's this going on one hand. We have all this upheaval with our president and our society. And then on the other hand, we need to talk about Cabbagetown, and how am I going to bring these things together? So I thought to myself, what's a piece of music that I love? So Fantasia redid a song that is a very good song. It's called Summertime. And I love Summertime because it has a lot of references to the South. You have your tall cotton and your high cotton. The cotton is high. And I even looked that up that day. I said, well, what does that mean? I've been singing this song forever. What does cotton is high mean? So I looked it up, and it said that it means that the farmer is about to make a lot of money, and it means that it's a good crop of cotton. So
I never knew that.
Summertime and the cotton, how's it go? And the fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Okay. So I said that was good, because this place was definitely jumping at one time, and they needed the bags and stuff for the cotton. So that was
it all comes
together, and I wanted to show the fish were jumping out the water and stuff. I wanted it to be fun and laughter, and I wanted to talk about the fish jumping. I love the koi fish. Koi fish represented strength in Japan, and I was thinking to myself, what is something that's beautiful that represents strength? So I did that. Then I had Miss Bertha floating on her back, because it's a position in the water that you feel like you're gonna fall, but you just, once you learn how to swim, you can just lay back and lean in the water. And I wanted to show Miss Bertha, who can I say your age, Miss Bertha? Okay, so you're 70, right, Miss Bertha?
69 and a half.
69 and a half. So I wanted to put Miss Bertha, who was 69 and a half. You wouldn't know it though. And I wanted to put her on her back. And I guess I kind of see myself in her, because I kind of want to be like that when I get older too. Have my sneakers on with my name on them and laying back, relaxing in the water. And that's what I did. I put her in the water, and she's laying back in the water, relaxing, and it came out really good. I was really, really proud of myself, because that was a hard mural to paint. I was climbing trees and scaffolds and whatever I could get my foot on. But it was awesome, to be able to honor this neighborhood, and people know who Miss Bertha is, Now, like, when I'm over there fixing stuff, they'll be like, who is the black lady? I'm like, that's Miss Bertha. She lives here. So it's good, in a place like Cabbagetown, where it's changing, I think it's good to honor those who are here in this place and have kind of made their waves.
Well, actually, it's been great talking to you. I'm sure I'll see you in the future as you're painting more murals.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm on Bankhead right now.
Oh, okay.
If this rain would stop.
Okay, well, I need to get out there and get a work in progress shot for the website.
Yes. We're on the Exxon at Chappelle, and we are honoring Brother Haroon, who was a former, he got in a lot of trouble before, and then with the law, and then he changed his life around and became an advocate for the homeless, and, protest and really help people around the city. So that's who we're doing next.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.